In today's video lesson, I shall be taking up the questions and answers of the chapter Ranga's Marriage. Apart from the textual questions, these questions are also important from the examination point of view. Now, before moving on to the first question, let us read what is written, children. The chapter Ranga's Marriage by M.V. Iyengar, it is a translation from Kannada language. It is a narrative of English language and it talks about imperialism and the impact of westernization, which had creeped inside or invaded the rural setting of Hosahalli, which is situated in Mysore. Now, children, I had already told you that this chapter has been written at a time when India was still under the clutches of the British. Now, the impact of the West, the use of the English language extensively, all this, the English practice, it had invaded, it had creeped into the rural setting of this village named Hosahalli, which the author has described in the chapter. Let's move on to the first question now. This question is very important, children. Ranga's homecoming was a great event. Why? So, you may please write down this question. I am dictating it to you. Ranga's homecoming was a great event. So, let's read the answer. Ranga's homecoming was a great event because he had studied English in Bangalore and returned after 6 months. So, he had been away from Hosahalli for a period of 6 months. In those days, not many people had the courage to send their children to study in another city. I am making the corrections also, children, here and there. So, many people, because they were superstitious, because they were illiterate, so the villagers, they did not have the courage to send their children to big cities to acquire higher education. People were excited and very curious to see whether Ranga had changed and if he had given up his caste. Now, just see the reasons of excitement and what the people were looking forward to. They were excited of the fact that Ranga has returned after 6 months and they were curious to see whether he had changed in any way or not, whether he had given up his caste. Okay. So, these were petty or frivolous issues where the villagers seeked entertainment. They seeked entertainment in such trivial and frivolous issues. And hence, Ranga's homecoming was a great event for the villagers. Let's move on to the next question now. What has happened is disgraceful. What does the narrator refer to? Now, children, for a better understanding of this answer, it would be better if you refer to the textbook where this is written. Now, this sentence, it has been picked up from the book. So, kindly read that portion and then come back to the explanation. The narrator feels that their simple native Kannada language has been contaminated. Okay, it has been contaminated. He refers to the interpressing of the English words with Kannada. Now, the English words, they were being used along with the Kannada language. If you remember that incident where the word change was used. Now, the author, being a purist, he doesn't approve of this intermixing of language. Purist means he used to feel that Kannada is a very superior language. So, he used to feel very proud of his language. Now, he has been referred to a purist, thinking highly of one's language. And hence, what is he saying? That if we are using the English words along with the Kannada words, the Kannada language has been contaminated. Being a purist, he doesn't approve of this mixing of languages. He blames the people who study English for invading their pure language by mixing it with a foreign language. So he is blaming those people who are studying English. And why is he blaming them? Because they are invading their pure language, invading it, they are polluting it, they are contaminating it, they are introducing the alien words in it. So English was a language which was contaminating and polluting and invading their native language. And hence he did not, what does he call it? That what has happened is disgraceful. Let's move on to the next question now. Why did the narrator decide to get Ranga married? Now this is also important, children. I have just given you the value points. You will have to develop the answer. The narrator, he was a social man. Children, it is social, S-O-C-I-A-L. He was very much grounded in the society and believed in the traditions and the customs of the society. So he was a social man and he loves to poke his nose in others' affairs. I had already told you that he was a man who loved to interfere in the affairs of the others. He thinks that Ranga was a suitable bachelor, a generous and respectful fellow. So he was generous, he was respectful and a considerate fellow. How do we know that he was generous? He greeted everyone and received everyone respectfully, and when he had paid a visit to the author, he did not go empty-handed, but he took along with him oranges. So he was respectful, the way he did a namaskar by bowing down his head, and he was also considerate. It would be a fine thing to have him get married. So it was the author's duty to get him married so that the boy could settle down and be of service to society. Now, you know, he feels that once he will get married, he will produce children, and this is his foremost duty. The society is in need of men like Ranga. So he should get married, get settled and produce more of his kind, and then he will be of service to society. Although he thought that Ranga did not have any valid reasons to not get married. Also, he thought that Ranga does not have any valid reasons to get married. They did share a detailed discussion on this topic, on this institution of marriage, wherein Ranga clearly said that I would like to settle down only when I meet a girl with whom I can share my ups and downs of life, who is matured enough, who is understanding enough, right? So he had entered into a detailed discussion with the author. Now the author, he did not find any valid reasons for Ranga that why he doesn't want to get married. And he himself, being a social man, could not let Ranga do what he wished to, right? Staying unmarried, staying a bachelor. And so he took it upon himself to get Ranga married, because according to the author, he was the most eligible bachelor. Let's move on to the next question now. How did the narrator handle enquiries? Now this is also again an important question which throws light on the character of the narrator, children. There are many occasions where we see him handling enquiries. He did not give straight answers. He never gave, straightforward answers. He always used to beat about the bush. He made casual and roundabout statements to arouse the interest and curiosity of Ranga. So this was his technique, children. He never gave a straightforward answer. He always made a casual and roundabout statements. Roundabout statements means he used to beat about the bush. Here and there he used to talk about only to arouse the interest and curiosity of Ranga. He wanted to arouse his interest and his curiosity of Ranga towards whom? Towards Ratna. He also wanted to test the authenticity of Ranga's feelings, and this was his technique. In a very manipulative way, he used to handle these enquiries. Okay, let's move on to the next question. Why did the narrator lie that Ranga was married a year ago? Okay, it should be Ratna, children. Please make this change while writing this question. Why did the narrator lie that Ratna was married a year ago? I have just done the question before this, so it should drop you a hint. Narrator was manipulative and he wanted to test the strength of Ranga's emotions. He wanted to test the strength of Ranga's emotions for Ratna. He wanted to arouse his interest and watch his reaction to this information. Okay, he wanted to arouse his interest. He already knew that deep inside, even Ranga is attracted towards Ratna. He only wanted to test the authenticity of this emotion and his feelings. He also wanted to arouse his interest and watch his reaction to this information. Isn't it? He is successful in his aim because he notices with glee, glee means happiness, that Ranga's face shriveled like a brinjal. Now very briefly I have given you the points here, children. You are expected to read this portion in the book and then write your answer in your own words, children. So he is very successful in his aim. Why? Because what does he notice? He notices that Ranga's face, it shrivels like a brinjal. So he is very happy that yes, I am going in the right direction. Whatever I have planned, it is going the right way. So his manipulations and his techniques of handling enquiries, all was going according to his plan. Let's move on to the next question now. How did the Shastri react to the narrator's comments about his Shastra? Now, children, in order to write this answer, you have to read this portion contained in the text. Because I have only given you the value points over here, you have to develop the answer. Now, the narrator, he had already tutored Shastri, isn't it? And when Ranga came, the Shastri repeated exactly what he was told. But then later, when the narrator and the Shastri, they met, the narrator, he had a mocking tone and had taken up a derogatory attitude towards the Shastri. Now this made him feel insulted and irritated. Moreover, the narrator's plan was a success, so that pride was also there in his tone and he was looking down upon the Shastri. What did he say? That so, Shastri Gale, you repeated everything that I had taught. And what answer did the Shastri give? That whatever you had told me, that even I could find out from my books on Shastras, right? So it did not go well. This comment of the narrator did not go well with the Shastri, and he felt insulted and irritated because of the mocking tone and the derogatory attitude. He was looking down upon the Shastri. Who? The narrator. Now the next question, children. Comment on the ending of the story. The story has a happy ending as the narrator was successful in making an educated boy get married to a very young girl in a traditional manner. So the story has a happy ending, and this is the ending, that the boy and the girl, they finally get married in the traditional manner and they lead a happy life after that. Ranga is happy with Ratna, and the couple honored the narrator by naming their first child after him. So what name did they give to their first child? Shyama, right? And Shyama was the name of the author. So this is how they honored the narrator, because the narrator was instrumental in finalizing the marriage between the boy and the girl, that is Ranga and Ratna. Children, there are more questions. I will take them up in the next class. Thank you.